The Innokin Z Biip. The Z Biip was sent to me for a review from provape.com. That's right, ProVape is back, but I believe it has new owners, and they aren't making the Provari again, but it's cool that the name is still going. Anyway, let's talk about the Z Biip. So Z Biip is an all-in-one kit that uses pods with replaceable coils. It has 3 power settings, adjustable airflow, refillable cartridges. It is compatible with Innokin Z coils, has audible and visual systems. It's 95 by 43 by 24 millimeters, and it comes in the colors of pink shine, black shine, white shine, emerald dune, bronze dune, and navy dune. And you can get it for $43.99 from provape.com. In the box you get the Z Biip device, a pod, 1 Plex 3D 0.48 ohm mesh coil for higher wattage, and 1.6 ohm coil for lower wattage. You also get a micro USB charging cable and an e-liquid squeeze bottle. Alright, so let's talk about backstory here. So the Z Biip is a beginner device manufactured by Innokin in collaboration with Dimitris, the vaping Greek, and Phil Basardo. It doesn't look like a beginner device because it's so big, but that's actually the point. Phil and Dimitri wanted to create a beginner device that wouldn't die as fast as all the other beginner devices on the market. And that's a really great idea because for smokers switching to vaping, one of the most likely reasons for them to smoke is when their battery dies. It happened to me when I first started vaping too. The battery died and I smoked the rest of the night. So I really like the big battery here. It's 3.7 inches tall, 1.6 inches wide, and 0.9 inches thick. It's a little heavy, certainly heavier than I was expecting for a beginner device, but it's not too bad. Alright, so if you're familiar with most pod systems and beginner devices, they're catered mostly to high milligram salt-based nicotine. The Biip works just fine with salt nic, but Dimitris and Phil wanted this to be fully satisfying with your regular standard nicotine e-liquid. Now out of the box, the Biip has a cap. I don't tend to use caps when devices come with them, but I really should. There have actually been lots of times where I've looked into a mouthpiece of one of my devices and found, lint, grass, dirt, and even one time a gnat. I guess I don't care that much, but you might, so it's good to have a cap. And while we're on the subject of the mouthpiece, it's right in the middle of the device and built into the pod. It's also tapered and completely round at the tip. It's designed to be comfortable to use at any angle and no matter how you hold the device. To fill the pod, you twist the entire mouthpiece section, which gives you access to the e-liquid fill port. And that fill port is big, so you shouldn't have any problems filling it up. And you can do this while the pod is still attached to the device, so it's really easy to do. And the silicone seal is supposed to prevent leaking, and they work well for me. I haven't had any issues with leaking. The pod holds 2 mils of e-liquid, so they are TPD compliant for people in the UK too. And if you want more liquid capacity, there's supposed to be an optional 4 mil cartridge coming. If you want to take the pod out to fill it, or if you want to change the coil, you should be able to pull the pod right out. You can also push it out from the side. The cartridge could be a little tighter. It won't fall out on you or anything. It's too tight for that to happen, but it comes out pretty easily when you try to pull the cap off. All right, now let's talk about that liquid bottle that comes in the box. Now this is just another example of Innokin, Phil, and Dimitris wanting to cover all bases for beginners. You can fill the Biip cartridges using large glass droppers, but it's less messy with a fine tip bottle like this, so you have that option. The plastic of this bottle is also soft, so it's not hard to squeeze for people with hand issues. Now let's talk about the airflow. So you'll find the adjustable airflow ring at the bottom of the pod. Pull the pod out of the device and then you can turn the airflow ring to whatever settings that you prefer. And this is awesome because it seems pretty rare for pod style devices to have adjustable airflow. So it's nice being able to adjust your airflow. And there are 3 holes on each side of the airflow control. You can open it up for a looser tight draw, or you can close it down to 1 hole for a really tight draw. It works pretty well. And I actually like the really tight draw that you get with the airflow all the way closed down, but that pulls too much liquid into the coil, so it tends to get oversaturated or flooded, so you might get some e-juice in your mouth like that. It's better to have at least 1 airflow hole open. The Z Biip comes with 2 coils. The new Plex 3D 0.48 ohm mesh coils are designed for a warmer vape, longer coil life, and good flavor. And these work well in the higher wattage settings of the Z Biip. And the flavor from the mesh coil is really good. The 1.6 ohm coil is designed for lower wattage and cooler vapes. You'll want to run these at the lower wattage setting of the device. And the flavor from these are pretty good too. Not as good as the mesh, but pretty good. Now something you'll want to keep in mind when changing coils in the Biip after you've already filled the cartridge is that the coil seals the top and bottom holes of the cartridge. So you can't change a coil in here wonder if there's e-liquid in the cartridge, or it'll pour out of the bottom or out of the mouthpiece. When you need to change the coil, make sure that you've vaped most of the e-juice out of it, or you could hold it on its side and you might be able to save some of that e-liquid in there. One of the most frustrating issues with new devices is that manufacturers create new coils that work only in those devices. You usually can't use other coils made by the same damn manufacturer. Innokin did a great thing here and made the Biip compatible with all of the coils in their Z coil line, which are also compatible with their popular Zenith tank. To change the coil, take the airflow control off and pull the coil out and then push a new one in. It's super easy to do. Just make sure that you have the coil seated all the way down. It's really easy to push the coil in and not realize that it's not seated correctly. There are flat edges on the coil head and those fit right into slots. All right, let's talk functions and wattage settings. So to turn on the device, you press the big firing bar 3 times fast, and the same to turn it off. And that's also how you activate or fire the device. That big bar makes firing the device really easy and comfortable. For people with arthritis in their hands, which is actually pretty common, the big bar definitely makes using the device nice. The button isn't clickable across the entire bar. It's not clickable at the bottom, but it becomes clickable somewhere around the 3/4 of the way down, and it's easiest to click at the top. To change the wattage, turn off the device and then press and hold that big activation bar on the side of the Biip. That cycles through power levels and stops when you let go of that activation bar. And that V-shaped light tells you the wattage setting that the Z Biip is set at. Red is 16 watts, green is 14 watts, and blue is 11 watts. For the few beginner devices that do offer adjustable wattage, they usually don't go any higher than 12 watts, which sometimes isn't enough. So I really like that Innokin added a setting that goes all the way up to 16 watts. It's pretty good. The Z Biip gets its name from an audible sound that it makes to let users hear the status of the device. This is great for people who might not have great eyesight. 1 beep means the pod is attached correctly. 2 beeps means 50% battery left, 3 beeps is 20% battery left, and 4 beeps means that it's done charging. And if you don't like that beep, you can turn it off using the switch on the bottom of the device. The battery is the reason that this device is so big. This thing has a huge 1500 milliamp hour battery, which Innokin says is the largest for any all-in-one device on the market right now. And that big battery is going to last you a long time. Just to put that into perspective, those small flat-sized vapes like the Vladin typically only have around 200 to 300 milliamp hour batteries. So depending on how much you vape, those might get you through the day without needing to be charged, but for heavy users, you'll probably have to charge it before the day is over. But with this 1500 milliamp hour battery in the Z Biip, you have about 5 of those devices worth of battery life in here. You'll definitely get through the day with heavy vaping. You'll probably even get 2 to 3 days, or if you're like me, you'd get a couple of weeks. And you can vape this while it's plugged in, so that's always a nice plus, especially for people who are just getting into vaping and this is their only device. You just might need to vape while it's charging. On the front of the device are 3 tiny LED lights, and that tells you how much battery life you have left. And there are also some safety protections here. You have overheating protection, over discharge, and overcharge protections. This device isn't going to cater to everyone. It's specifically targeted towards beginners while also considering older people who are often left out when companies make new products. And I love that about this. I think a lot of companies have forgotten the reasons why they got into the vaping business in the first place, to help people quit smoking. And many of us started vaping after our 30s, 50s, and so on, but most devices aren't marketed to the older crowd. So I have to give it up to Innokin for making something that smokers need. Innokin might not sell a million of these, but the people who buy these will appreciate that this device was made for them. And there are a lot of great things about the Z Biip. The finish is very nice. It has adjustable airflow. I like the big firing bar. The cartridges are refillable. The flavor from the coils are good. And you can use Innokin's Z coils in here too. If I had anything to complain about, it would be the weight, which is a little heavy, and I would have liked for a lot more e-liquid capacity considering the size of this device. But if you're looking for something easy, a device that performs great, and you want a ton of battery life, the Z Biip is great. So this was sent to me for a review from provape.com, and you can get it from them for $43.99. Thanks for checking out this review, and I'll catch you on the next one.